The moment a man becomes cold after heartbreak, it is rarely because he suddenly stopped feeling anything. It is because he started feeling everything at once and decided he could never survive it again in the same way. And that is where most people misunderstand him completely. At first, after the breakup, he still tries to be normal, still replies with short messages, still pretends he is fine, still scrolls through his phone at night, hoping distraction will quiet the noise in his head. But what nobody sees is the internal shift happening in silence. Because heartbreak for a man does not always look like tears or emotional breakdowns. Sometimes it looks like distance, isolation, and a slow withdrawal from everything that once made him expressive. And the deeper reason for this transformation is not hatred, but protection. Because in that period of emotional vulnerability, he begins to associate openness with pain, vulnerability with loss, and emotional investment with consequences he could not control. Psychologists often describe this as an attachment response, where the mind learns from emotional injury and begins to adapt by building walls instead of bridges. And over time, those walls become what people label as coldness. But in reality, it is emotional conditioning shaped by experience, not personality change. Think about it. When a man gives his full emotional energy to someone, he is not just investing time or affection. He is attaching meaning, identity, and future expectations to that connection. So when it ends, it does not just feel like losing a person. It feels like losing direction. And in that moment of emotional collapse, something shifts internally. He makes a silent decision, not out of pride, but survival, that he will never allow himself to be in that position of emotional dependence again. So he starts detaching, not immediately, not dramatically, but gradually. He stops sharing details about his feelings. He stops explaining his thoughts. He stops seeking comfort the way he once did, because somewhere in his mind, vulnerability now equals danger. And this is where the transformation into emotional coldness begins. What makes this even more complex is that society rarely understands male heartbreak because men are often expected to move on, stay strong, or focus on work. So instead of processing the pain outwardly, many men internalize it, bury it under discipline, gym routines, long work hours, silence, or emotional distraction. And over time, the buried pain does not disappear. It restructures their personality, turning emotional expression into emotional control. This is why after heartbreak, some men seem completely different. Not because they stopped loving, but because they started overmanaging their emotions to avoid ever breaking like that again. And the irony is, while the world sees coldness, the man himself often feels more than before. He just refuses to show it, because showing it once cost him peace. This is also where concepts like emotional detachment and stoicism are often misunderstood, because true stoicism is not the absence of emotion but the mastery of it. Yet many men after heartbreak do not master their emotions. They suppress them, and suppression slowly rewires how they connect with people. They begin to observe instead of engage, analyze instead of feel, and protect instead of trust, which changes how they approach relationships going forward. Even when they meet someone new, there is a hesitation, a subconscious filter running in the background asking, is this worth the risk again? And if the answer is uncertain, they pull back emotionally before anything even begins, not because they are incapable of love, but because they are afraid of repeating emotional collapse. This is why you often hear people say, "He changed after his breakup." Because what they are witnessing is not indifference, but emotional recalibration. A man rebuilding his psychological defenses after a loss he did not know how to process properly at the time. And perhaps the most misunderstood part of all this is that coldness is not the end of feeling. It is the containment of it, because beneath that calm exterior, there is often still memory, still attachment, still unanswered questions. But those emotions are locked behind mental barriers built through experience. Over time, some men learn to balance this and reopen emotionally in healthier ways. But others stay in the guarded state for years, not because they want to, but because it feels safer than risking another emotional breakdown. And so when you see a man who seems distant after heartbreak, who doesn't express what he feels, who seems unaffected or emotionally unavailable, what you are often seeing is not someone who stopped caring, but someone who cared too deeply once and decided he could not afford to do it the same way again. Because heartbreak did not just teach him pain, it taught him consequence. And in response, he built silence where there was once openness, control where there was once vulnerability, and distance where there was once connection. And that is how men slowly become cold after heartbreak. Not overnight, not out of choice, but as a psychological adaptation to emotional injury they never fully recovered from.